Hi guys, it's Travis, and today I'm going to be doing something brand new for my channel. It's a new type of video, and I hope you guys are interested in it. I hope I pick up some new viewers, possibly from this series, which is going to be about analyzing television the way an English/literary student would. Some of you may know that I am an English major in college, so I do spend a lot of time reading text and analyzing them through a certain lens. And yeah, I'm going to use television that's popular, television that can be really powerful, and that's why today's video is on The Walking Dead. So I really love The Walking Dead. I've been watching it since season 4. I think I started picking it up on television season 4, and then I went back on AMC's marathons and just binge watched it whenever they had the marathons and caught up. So the last episode from last Sunday was called What Happened and What's Going On. It was the mid-season premiere, and it's season 5's 9th episode. The show was really strange. The episode was different from normal. Normally you see action, you see emotional plots and things like that. But this episode in particular was very symbolic. It was very much a turning point for the show's thesis, if you will. Thesis being the main point, the main theme of what the writers are trying to say with the show. And I didn't look up the director for this episode, but in other words, the episode's different because it's very metaphorical, it's very symbolic, it's very much a different take from the usual literal interpretation of death and violence and the world ravaged by the zombie apocalypse. So you open up the episode and you see this scene of someone being buried. You see shovels, you see a small funeral service, and they're talking about eulogizing someone's death. And immediately you think Beth. Spoiler alerts, if you haven't seen Coda, which was the last episode that aired a few months back before they took a break before the mid-season. If you haven't seen Coda, go watch it before you watch this because there are spoilers coming. Beth dies in Coda. If you do not know that, then go back and watch the episode. It was really good. So the first thought you have when this episode starts and what's going on is they're burying Beth. And in reality, Beth's been gone for several days. And this is just foreshadowing, which is a literature term. It's foreshadowing of what's to come in the episode and what the viewer should be prepared for. So as the episode progresses, they take the advice of Noah, who comes from a small settlement of people that's walled and well protected, to go visit them and perhaps find space and security. The small settlement has about 20 people, according to Noah, and the group can go there and be safe from the walkers and from danger. They just need a break because they've been on the road for a while. They haven't had a break in a long time. They're all tired and beat, especially after that thing with Terminus. So they go to this little settlement and they find out, of course, it's been destroyed. It's a little bit what I would have expected. I don't feel like the group should find security anywhere if it's not Washington, because that's what the plot's been sort of leaning towards for a long time, is getting to Washington. That's the whole point for right now. So they go into this settlement. They find that people have been killed. Noah's family's been killed. He's devastated, obviously. So they branch off in these little groups to sort of look around. Noah and Tyrese end up together. So Tyrese's character for me is very much, for a while, was just static. He was just the big, bulky guy. When he was with the governor's group, he was sort of the muscle, but he sort of has this morality compass kind of thing going on. And he, for the past several episodes, he hasn't been able to kill. He's been soft. Even when Martin from Terminus was threatening Judith's life, he didn't rush the guy. He didn't try to violently address Martin. He just sort of backed off and did what he said. And Tyrese is definitely a very passive character. He's very quiet. He's very reserved about killing things. And the show's making a comment, in this world, you can't do that. You can't be this way in a post-apocalyptic world. You have to kill or be killed, survival of the fittest. So Tyrese is upstairs in this building, which was Noah's home, and he's looking at pictures from Noah's brothers, things like that. And he gets bitten by a walker. So immediately you think, wow, that's the end of Tyrese. And they could have transitioned from there to his death, to the funeral, to the sadness and everything like that. Because most of the time in The Walking Dead, characters don't get very much time to talk about their development before they die. They sort of tell their story and resolve their characters after their death through other characters sort of reacting. But this doesn't happen with Tyrese. With Tyrese, he starts having hallucinations, and the fever is definitely starting to tear his body down, tear his mind down. And he sees Lizzie and Mika, which is fantastic for me because Lizzie is one of my favorite characters in the history of television, actually. I know a lot of people don't really care about Lizzie because she wasn't that significant to the story, but Lizzie for me is a great example of a psychology experiment gone wrong. She's completely ruined by the post-apocalyptic world. So go back and watch The Grove. If you haven't seen it, The Grove is an amazing episode, one of my favorites. So he sees Mika and Lizzie, and he sees Beth, which is nice because a lot of fans of the show wanted Beth to come back. They signed a petition to bring Beth back because her story wasn't fully resolved. She wasn't fully... she didn't reach the end of her journey, if you will. So it was nice to see Beth back, even though she's dead. And Beth, to me, was always that multi-dimensional character that Maggie never was. Maggie was interesting, strong woman character, sexual, but Beth has a lot more to her. She's younger. She's dealing with change into the young adult status, if you will. She's becoming hardened by the situation, so Beth is just a very dynamic character, and for Beth to die the way she did in Coda, it was just sort of, I guess, disappointing because a lot of viewers wanted to see where Beth was going. So anyway, Tyrese sees Lizzie and Mika, he sees Beth, he sees the governor, which is sort of fitting. It's fitting that Tyrese sees these people that he has interacted with throughout the show. On a personal level and has meant something to his character, who's helped his character develop. He also sees Martin from Terminus, which was kind of surprising considering Martin was not a very significant character. But in these hallucinations, he's trying to determine if it's okay to be a fighter, to just live, to just be something you're not, or if it's okay to get out of the world, just pass on, not be a part of it. And his character has been aimed this way for a long time. They've been shaping him into the passive character who's not violent, who's not a killer, who's not quite capable to survive because he can't take lives. And that's what Tyrese chooses for himself. He chooses to give up, to give in to the fever, to just die. You see, at one point he feels like he's touching someone, one of the hallucinations, and then you find out it's Rick. Rick's pulling his arm, and Michonne's cutting it off. They're trying to cut off the fever so it doesn't spread and he doesn't die. So Rick radios back to Carol, lets her know that they're going to work on his arm, try to save him. And Tyrese once again sees visions of Bob Stuckey, of Lizzie and Mika, of Beth. He's in the car, and it's very nice camera work done with the sun. It's really bright. He's sort of looking into the sun. And he lets go. He realizes it's okay, that this isn't something he's cut out for. He's not built for this world. He's built for something else. And he dies. So from the beginning, the foreshadowing you see of the ceremony, the funeral, was for Tyrese and not for Beth. So it's sort of like the climax, the surprise ending. Which I guess it could have been suspected that it was a different character if you realized how much time had passed since Beth died. There was really never anything done for Beth as far as her eulogizing a funeral or anything like that, other than that last scene we see of Daryl carrying her out of the hospital. So Tyrese sort of gets a special ceremony of remembrance. They take his beanie and put it on like a little ornamental piece for him. And yeah, this episode is highly symbolic of figuring out how capable you are in your station of the world. And it's applicable to us as well, not just a post-apocalyptic world. People of faith can connect to it because Sometimes the world's really dark, really dirty, full of things that can corrupt you, and you have to decide if you're built for it and how you're going to react to that. So that's sort of what Tyrese's role becomes in the show. And I really enjoyed the episode. If I were going to rate it, I would probably rate it an 8 out of 10. Because it's so emotional, because it's so different from what they usually do. Very well written, scripted. One of the problems I have with it is this. Whenever Noah tells Tyrese he's going to get help, he rushes down to get Rick and Michonne, obviously. And during the time this happens, you see the hallucinations happening, and there's sort of a time problem because there's only a span of a few minutes. He can run right downstairs, maybe across the block, if that, and pull Rick and Michonne into the building to help him. So you would think less than 5 minutes, but actually, because of the hallucinations, because of Tyrese going through this dilemma of how he's going to react to the fever, it seems like it takes much longer than that, and it's sort of confusing to watch. But in the end, after watching the full episode, it's not that big of a deal because you realize time sort of flashes before your eyes when you're dying. So, likely all those things happen in a very quick matter of moments. That was a little bit of a confusing element, but what I really loved is seeing the characters come back and talking to him and telling them to let it go. Especially the governor. The governor as an opposition to Mika and Lizzie and then Beth was pretty interesting because the governor states outright that you have to kill, you have to fight to be a part of the world, and you can't escape it. It's something that's born into them. The disease is born into them now. The walkers, everything's a part of who they are. It's part of the human existence, from the human experience from that point, from what went down in Atlanta previous to Rick waking up. And then the other one saying, even though that's a part of who you are, you don't have to be a part of it. You can back away. You can pass on it. It's fine. It's okay. There's peace ahead if you just let go of it. So that was nice. So yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10. It's very well designed, very well structured, very well written. And props to the actor who plays Tyrese. I should have looked up his name, but I did not. I saw him talking on Talking Dead after the show, after the premiere of Better Call Saul. And it was really nice. So, don't know what the show's going to do with Beth, if they're actually going to work her back in, maybe as a spirit that haunts the group. I'm not sure, but I feel like we'll see her again, even if not alive, which I doubt. There's no really way possible to do that. I feel like we'll see her again. And Tyrese's death as this moral, nice, humble, passive guy who's been sort of the optimistic portion of the group of this people who are becoming animals, who are absolutely losing their sense of humanity. His passing is going to have repercussions, and I feel like this episode sets the tone for the rest of the season. Rick's character has been developing this way for a while, where he's just losing himself in what's going on. And the passing of Beth, who was also a really sweet, genuine person who didn't fit in with the world. And then the passing of Tyrese, who was like the moral sort of weight, who was keeping them on the side of reason and logic. It's going to be crazy, I feel like. But I did love the episode. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Obviously, I did not mean to spoil it, but I did warn you there were spoilers. So go watch it and watch the new episode that's coming this Sunday. And we'll see where the group ends up in the wake of loss and death of these characters who were sort of holding together like glue. I know Maggie's going to have a breakdown because there's no Beth now. And Tyrese is going to be a pretty rough loss for Carol, particularly. So Maggie, Daryl, and Carol are all going to be in complete a rough place. So we'll see how they develop, and we'll see if the group can hang on to their humanity. So if you enjoy this series, please leave comments in the comment section about the episode, what you thought of it, what you think about The Walking Dead in general, comments you have on the show. I would like to read them and see where you guys stand with it. Yeah, that's it. If you would like to see more, if you'd like to see a specific show or specific episode of the show, just let me know. I'll try to talk about it. I'll watch it. And that is all. Thank you for watching. I am signing out.